Annyeonghaseyo, welcome back to my channel. So this week's video is a couple of days late, and that is because I had to do a whole detailed lesson plan for this video because I am bringing you information on how you could fill in your application form and how you could do your lesson plan, including where you could get resources for your lesson plan. So if you are in the process of applying for Epik and you're kind of stuck because doing a lesson plan is a nightmare, then I am your girl and I've got your back, so stay tuned. So the first thing you want to do is Google Epik, or you can go directly to the Epik website, but I'm just going to Google Epik. Click on the first result. Click on application. You want to make sure that you have Adobe Reader on your computer, so if you don't have it, download it over here. Scroll down. Obviously you want to read everything as you go by to make sure that you have the right information. Then you want to click on the Epik application instructions and the Epik application form, so you will click on these two downloads. After that, you want to open your Epik application. Now this is mine. It's pretty much straightforward for the most part. You fill in your personal information. Now the Skype ID, obviously you want to have something appropriate, like your last name and your first name or whatever, like very appropriate, not something like Sexy Best 101 or something like that. You fill in all the other information, mailing addresses, etc. And you want to move down to your salary level. So in order for you to know how much money you should be getting paid by Epik, you want to go back to the Epik website, click on job description, salary and benefits, and here they have all the salary levels on the left. But for the most part, a lot of us will fall under number 2, so level 2. So you want to go ahead and click level 2. Okay, moving on to personal information. This is mostly for South Africans, and this is where you need to click yes if you've been in an English school. Other than that, you click on if you have any piercings, tattoos. If you have tattoos, it's really not a big deal because you just have to tell them how you plan on covering your tattoos, or where your tattoos are. If you're vegan, if you've been convicted, then you will need to say yes or no because you still have to do your criminal record check anyway. Moving on, this is one of the most important things about this application form, and that is the self-medical assessment. This one, honesty is key, but when it comes to this one, like I'd say this depends. Like if you have very severe depression, then you definitely want to say yeah. But if you don't, like your depression is mild and very controllable, that nobody would ever know that you're depressed, then maybe say no. I'm not encouraging lies, I'm just saying sometimes these things will count against you, and if your depression is fairly under control, then it would be unfair for you not to get a job because they think you're going to be a maniac in Korea. As for everything else, you want to actually make sure that you are honest. When it comes to alcohol beverages, I don't drink at all. I drink twice a year, on my birthday and on New Year's Eve, but I did say I have 2 drinks a week, and that is because in Korea, when we go out for teachers dinners and things like that, we drink. We are encouraged to drink. You drink with your boss. It's drinking in front of your boss. Getting wasted in front of your boss is actually not a bad thing. So when you go out, but obviously you don't want to come across as an alcoholic, somebody who's going to drink every weekend and not show up for work on Monday. So you want to like keep that number low. Then this comes to the interesting part, which is your Epik personal essays. So I've got my application form from back in the day over here, and this was my Epik application form back in 2016. We used Word, y'all. They've improved a lot actually. So the first question on this one is answer both. Why do you want to teach EFL and why do you want to teach in Korea? This one is why do you want to teach EFL in Korea? It's essentially the same question in my opinion. And this was my essay, which was basically kind of like mentioning that I volunteered in various organizations and worked with kids. Thus, I know how to work with kids, which is like general stuff. And then towards the end, I mentioned why Korea specifically, and I said South Korea is a country rooted in culture, rich history, yet very modern and futuristic. It is a country that has achieved great development in a very short space of time. I love working with new people, and I want to use this opportunity to learn about Korean culture, the people. My value of education, curiosity and fascination with the country are what makes Korean ideal for me. Second question is the same with the current application form, which is please explain your teaching philosophy. Over here, I mentioned that my teaching philosophy is rooted in the firm belief that as a teacher, you have to be a student too. This is where I wrote that. And I wrote general stuff about my teaching experiences. I was also like a lecturer assistant in my university. And I tied it up with why Korea. And it was with regards to teaching in Korea. I plan on using my curiosity and eagerness to learn about the Korean culture and the language as a way for my students to also see me as a student. I will use my free time to interact with them, and this will also serve as an opportunity for me to evaluate their English vocabulary and identify areas of improvement. While I don't actually correct my students' English when I'm talking to them in my free time, I do actually like spending time with them. Now, moving on to the last question, which is share your thoughts on encountering cultural differences. Now, luckily, I'm from South Africa, and South Africa is a fairly diverse fairly diverse country. So I mentioned that South Africa has 11 official languages. I mentioned my work with my university's Office of International Education, which is where I had a chance to observe different cultures, especially with Europeans, people from Germany. I have a lot of friends in Germany through that job. And I talked about general stuff about my life and then tied it up again with why Korea. And I basically said teaching in Korea will not only give me an opportunity to learn about the country's history, but also about the culture and the people. And while at it, I will make sure that I fully dedicate myself to my students. I am a people person, and I will offer my confidence, humility, determination, devotion, and my enthusiasm. But most importantly, I will bring my curious and open mind, because this is a learning opportunity for me as well. And as you can see, my approach with my essays was to talk generally about things that I've done with my life, but obviously related to the question, and tied it up, summarize it by saying why I want to do this in Korea. Moving on to the lesson plan, this is the most important part of the application, because this is where they will know, do you have what it takes to be a teacher? So with my lesson plan, I based it on my actual experience as a teacher, and I use elementary school because I'm an elementary school teacher, and I use advanced because my lesson title is for 6th graders, and 6th graders are usually well advanced. It's not like 3rd graders where you teach them about animals and things like that. Remember, it has to be conversational English, so no grammar. Okay, so I have 30 students. My lesson topic is what do you want to be? So it's going to be about their different their dream jobs. Okay, so from a previous class, my students learned about different kinds of jobs, and they learned about and memorize the job related vocabulary. So for additional material, I'm not going to have any handouts for this lesson, so this part I will skip. Objectives: by the end of this class, my students will be able to talk about their dream jobs. We'll be able to gather they will be able to gather their classmates' career interests, and they will be able to identify at least one skill associated with the dream job. Now, the key expressions for my lesson are, back to my lesson topic, which is what do you want to be? And the answer for that will be I want to be a and because of blah blah blah. For example, I want to be an artist because I am good at drawing. And then for vocab, I was very lazy when I was doing this actually, but I'd encourage at least 10 words. You don't want to do too much, especially with elementary school kids, because they are retention levels are not that good, so you want to keep it simple. Greeting and introduction, I use that 5 minutes because actually in my real classes I usually keep it real well short. And as you can see, it's like daily routine, good morning, and a brief review of the previous class and what we will do today. Specify that today we're going to be learning about our dream jobs. Presentation. Here I have my presentation, which is basically where I will read stuff and the students will have to repeat after. Okay, first I will show them pictures and then they have to answer the questions based on that picture. For example, teach a picture of a doctor and then they have to say a doctor and blah blah blah. And then this is where I demonstrate how this will take place in my classroom. And T is for teacher, SS is for students. Okay, like for example, what is this? A teacher, do you know what a teacher does, etc, etc. And I said, do you know what a teacher does, because my class is advanced. Okay, now practice. This is where the students get to practice with the teacher or by themselves. With me, I decided that it should be like they should have a group discussions about their dream jobs, and then they will share this with the entire class. So as you can see towards the end, student groups take turns sharing their dream jobs with the class. Then moving on to production, this is where I actually include games. So here we have 4 in a row, which is a game. Let me show you. So this is 4 in a row, as you can see. So in order for them to be able to put in the circles on the circles, then they need to say something about this, something about this, something about blah blah blah. So and then obviously whichever team, there'll be 2 teams, and whichever team has 4 balls in a row, circles in a row first, will be the winner. And I mentioned that here. And then I also mentioned how I'm going to check their understanding as a teacher, etc, etc. Now summary and conclusion is 10 minutes. And as you may have seen, a class has to be 40 minutes for elementary school kids. So my conclusion is 10 minutes. And in my conclusion, we will be playing Pass the Ball. And this is my Pass the Ball screen grab. And this is how we're gonna play the game. They pass the ball, and this is an example. I will show them how to play the game, and this is how they have to answer. So the class will ask, what do you want to be? And the student who has the ball will have to say, I want to be a blah blah blah, because I should have included because over here. But basically you get the idea. And I use screenshots because they say you need to at least have 2 pages of the material that you are going to be using on your lesson plan. So I just did like a PowerPoint and clicked on this one and then took a screenshot, and then I will make 2 pages of a PDF document and attach it to this one. Okay, then all your evaluation. And this is where I check to see that they remember what we talk about, and then they need to practice with the teacher, like, what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor because of blah blah blah. And in the next class, I tell them that what they are going to be learning about. In the next class, we are going to learn about how to fill in job applications for our dream job. And in my classes, in my actual classes, I have gate passwords. So whatever I teach them for the day, I then use this as a question for them to exit the class. So for example, in this class, we said, what do you want to be? So today's gate password, they have to answer the question, what do you want to be? And as they exit the class, they line up, and then you ask them the question, and each one has to answer in order for them to leave the classroom. Now, where do you get information? Where can you get ideas of activities that you should be doing in your class? Then you should go ahead and Google Waygug.org. Waygug is a website for teachers where this is where we share our material. And this is where you can also get information from other teachers. The only thing is you need to pay for you to be able to download anything from this website. So also, like, this is what makes the job easy, because you just go ahead here and you download stuff. Actually, another website that you can use is coshare.org. This one is free. Everything over here is you can download for free. The thing is about Coshare is it doesn't have yet, because it's still new. They only started it, I think, in 2017, so it still doesn't have quite as much stuff as Epik does, but everything over here is for free. So you can come here and get ideas of what games you want to use on your lesson plan and download it. And then once you're done, you wanna have your screenshots with your material, and you wanna put those in 2 pages, save it as a PDF document, because they said that your PowerPoint has to be, all of your PowerPoints have to be in 2 pages. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the end of this remember to like, subscribe, and leave your comment below to tell me how you feel about this video. Also, if you have any questions, and remember, you always are free to get down on my DMs if you don't want to ask those questions publicly. I hope this video was very helpful to you. Apart from that, I will see you in the next video. Dingam Hasa in Korea. Bye.